crore Indians. To talk about that, I'm joined by Praful Ketkar. He's the editor of Organizer. Sorry, that brings me to the In Focus tonight. In Focus, New Parliament House, Reflection of Atmanirbhar Bharat, or a self-reliant India. That's our In Focus, New Parliament House, Reflection of Atmanirbhar Bharat. And to talk about that, I'm joined by Praful Ketkar, the editor of Organizer. All right. Thank you, Praful. I can see you on the screen. Thank you for joining us. The country, the nation got a new parliament house. What does it mean?
See, Amritpal, this is a historic occasion in many ways. Firstly, because this is the parliament that is built in independent India as per the need of independent India. Earlier, Parliament was built in the colonial era as per the Central Assembly or National Assembly requirement during the British Raj. Somehow we have used that structure, we did necessary changes in that, but over the period of time it is almost 100 years now, so physically it is very difficult to maintain such old structure. The technology has changed drastically. But what India, in this new parliament, one is what we have shown is our ability to build a structure quickly and of world-class standard. This a state-of-art architecture was nearly in 26-27 months. In October 2020, this was the foundation was laid, and today we see on 20th May we got the completion certificate regarding the same. This is a beautiful amalgamation of our, civilizational thought on the one hand, and the modern technology on the other. You spoke about the, for example, about the Sengol. Sengol is not just about the symbol of transfer of power. If you see historically, in each and every state, from ancient democracies till modern period, everywhere in India, in each and every state, there was a symbol like Sengol. Somewhere it was called Chengol, somewhere it was called Rajadanda, somewhere it was called Dharmadanda. But there is a righteous or moral or spiritual power behind the king. Even the king is not indispensable when it comes to the rule of law or rule of justice. And that was the message behind this. So, of course, 1947, historical message is there. What we have done is, by bringing in this Chola tradition and Chola Sengol to our parliament, we have created a wonderful amalgamation of tradition and modernity, because you as you have explained in the report, modern technology is there, earthquake resistant infrastructure is there, every seat has got a digitally connected screen there. So all these things definitely are a sign of modern digital infrastructure. But what I find important is, when we talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat, that soul of India, the Atman, is more important part. For instance, the peacock and the lotus theme that you talked about, or the entry points, the Jnana Dwar, the Shakti Dwar, and the Karma Dwar. Jnana, Shakti and Karma, these three philosophical traditions actually bound India and Indian movements for centuries together. And that's why we see even Swami Vivekananda, when he goes out, he speaks about the Shakti Yoga, the Jnana Yoga, and the Karma Yoga. Lokmanya Tilak speaks about Karma Yoga. In Hindu Swaraj, Mahatma Gandhi speaks about Karma Yoga. Maharishi Aurobindo speaks about Karma Yoga. So that is, the thematically it is, purely based on India's philosophical traditions, and that I find that's realizing, whatever you adapt, you accept from outside, it has to be based on your inherent qualities, inherent soul, and that is the message perhaps we have given through this parliament.
Okay, let's talk about Sengol first. Praful, if this, as you say, and as the Prime Minister said, that he was very, that it was a matter of great honor that the symbol was installed there, and will keep reminding the parliamentarians of the sense of duty and what it symbolizes. Then why is there so much division of opinion, or is it just petty politics?
Oh, it's unfortunate, that, on such a glorious occasion also people choose to do certain politics or make certain political points. See, in 1947, when Britishers asked how the power of, this transfer of power
should happen, yeah.
executed, it was Rajaji or C. Rajagopalachari, who later became, after Mountbatten, became the Governor General of India, first Indian Governor General. He suggested, with the reference of Chola tradition, that this used to be a symbol of power in our tradition, and that's how this was done, and those photos are available when Nehru actually accepted it. Now, nobody asked then why not Dr. Rajendra Prasad. He was chairman of the Constituent Assembly. Why not C. Rajagopalachari? Nehru accepted it because he was then head of the government. Then what is the problem? Prime Minister Modi inaugurating is a head of the government. Since 2010, we have been talking about the new parliament. No other government tried to, take it forward. Why UN cried when Prime Minister Modi took it forward and, not just did laid the foundation stone, he ensured that within time frame, in a record time, it is built. So why there is so much of problem? What happened that, though there was some documentary made and today it was shown while, in the public program, why and how it reached to Allahabad when the space and the place was in the parliament? Why it was shown as a walking stick and not as the value and the spiritual significance that symbol represents? That was perhaps got exposed, and that's why Congress perhaps got rattled. Being main opposition party, they should have shown some kind of maturity and some kind of grace in a democracy. But we have seen, from pre-2014 period itself, there is a very, strong reluctance in the, earlier establishment. We have seen, you can always have a political difference of opinion. You can have ideological difference of opinion. But when you say, because you are doing it on Veer Savarkar's Jayanti, you are insulting all other freedom fighters. What you have done, to one important symbol of transfer of power by connecting it to one family and one person, can there be a bigger insult to this, entire idea of transfer of power? Can there be a bigger insult to the idea of democracy by institutionalizing dynasty? So I think these are many questions that will arise and Congress will have to face it. And perhaps this is one of the reasons why Congress has declined in last few years so fast, because they are missing this connect. They are missing this connect with the Atma of Bharat. And that's why they perhaps cannot understand the idea of Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Okay, now that you raised this point, let's talk about the politics that was played on this. As the Prime Minister said, that this building makes every Indian proud. It indeed is a historic moment. It is the Parliament, after all, is the temple of our democracy. The Prime Minister called us the mother of democracy in the world and says it represents. So why would the opposition parties on this historic occasion, for all their political differences, come join the inauguration ceremony, make your political point, keep doing political point scoring? It's not that you're going to boycott, you're going to come when the sessions happen. So why not be a part of this? So what message did go out today?
Unfortunately, the message went out of a divided polity, the antagonism, the intolerance. I always believe, Amritpal, that there can be a difference of opinion. You can have a difference of ideological opinion about even Veer Savarkar or his idea of, or even BJP or whatever you have. You can make it politically. You can make the statement politically. When it comes to the national symbols, when it comes to the national issues, there are certain issues which are beyond politics. that Prime Minister sometimes makes a difference between the Rajaniti and the Rashtra-niti. There can be political policies and there can be national policies. On national policies, I think opposition parties could have, and some people have shown that grace. Mr. Devgowda came, Mr. Sukhbir Singh Badal was there, Jagat Reddy was there. There were many people from opposition who actually participated in the ceremony and gave open support to this entire inauguration ceremony. This, when sometimes you have this sense of monopoly over certain things, whether it's a freedom struggle, whether it's a right to rule, then this kind of mindset is reflected. But in this process, what is happening actually is, it is not just the polity that gets divided. You give a wrong kind of impression about the entire national situation also. That's why you manufacture certain controversies for your political. They can be beneficial in the short run, but ultimately they hamper your national fabric. They hamper your national social fabric. They hamper your cultural fabric. The right way could have been to attend the thing, and when the session starts in the new parliament, raise the issues related to national importance, related to certain policies, and then force the government to make and bring certain bills on certain issues. That would have been much better way to show the presence of opposition in terms of policy making, in terms of legislation, rather than inauguration of a building that is called as the temple of democracy in our regular parlance, called New Indian Parliament.
True. All right, let's talk about what I want to talk about this message that the Prime Minister sent out in his speech today while he was addressing the parliamentarians on the inauguration. He said this new building will witness the sunrise of self-reliant India, or Atmanirbhar Bharat. He said it will strengthen our resolve to make us a developed country in the next 20 years, and he said it will awaken a sense of duty to every Indian. We have a grand building with all its grandeur. I put out a video wall putting out the features of the new building. Now, what is the Prime Minister telling the nation that where do we need to go from here?
See, Amritpal, this building, infrastructure, the philosophy, and the art and the culture behind it, all these things are fine. Ultimately, what do you do out of it? What do you want to achieve out of it? Unless as a nation we don't have certain goals, unless we have certain objectives before us, we will not be able to utilize all those, whether the civilizational ethos or the modern technology for the benefit of the people, benefit of the nation. Prime Minister has been talking about Panchapran for a long time, decolonizing our mindset, or becoming a developed country, or all these things, or being true to our national duties. All these things are not just about slogans, unless we give substance to it. What do you mean by we want to be a developed country? Do we want to really just imitate somebody? Do we want to follow certain path already charted out? America is in crisis. Prime Minister talk about whenever India will rise, it will make good for the world. Why is so confident? This has been a historical experience. Whenever civilizational India stood up, we have seen that during the COVID crisis. We have seen that even in the medieval period, in the ancient period, whenever India stride forward, we have contributed to the world. Whenever we achieved 20-25% of world GDP, we were there, and as per the international documents, we didn't exploit anybody, we didn't colonize anybody. We maybe some people adopted us culturally, but we didn't influence them, we didn't exploit them. That has been Indian thought. And this idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, I'm telling you, in next 25 years will be required to the world. We have seen United Nations system is crumbling. The American model of development is crumbling. US itself is facing a severe debt crisis. Chinese model is not acceptable to the world. It is more threatening even than the European or American model. In this scenario, world is looking for options. World is looking for solutions, and world has a belief that the civilizational Bharat can provide those solutions, whether environmental crisis, whether this crisis of model of development, whether this global peace and stability, whether this achieving new multipolar order, all these things has to for that
moral leadership, Praful, moral leadership.
Absolutely. The kind of righteousness that we have shown on various occasions, and I always find this International Yoga Day as the classic example, because we have rarely seen, Amrutpal, you have been covering international events and United Nations Assembly for such a long time. You have seen, we rarely see this kind of consensus among the international actors, where 177 actors commonly propose certain theme and unanimously it is passed. That is Indian way of building consensus, and that is the idea of familial globalization. I always try to we are not for market globalization, we are not for imposed globalization, we are not state-centered globalization, we are more for familial globalization. In fact, every individual is different, every unit may be different, but still they have certain familial bonds, they have certain common concerns, they have common sharings. And that is the way world, unity and world peace should be conceived and materialized. And that is the Indian thought, that moral leadership that you have you talked about. I think in next 25 years, that will be the challenge for us. For that, Atmanirbharta is not just a material concept. Atmanirbharta is realizing and standing true to our civilizational soul. And on that edifice, we need to build everything, whether our institutions, whether our development model, whether our participation of women, re-energizing and channelizing youth, all these things, and even for that matter, artificial intelligence and judicious use of technology. All these things will matter in next 25 years, and there Atmanirbharta will play a critical role.
Absolutely. And in that journey towards self-reliance, of strengthening the resolve of our democracy, today indeed was a golden moment. Praful Ketkar, thank you very much for taking our time and lending us your insights. Thank you. Moving on. US President Joe Biden and House Speaker and top